Those pillars of mediation. Here I'm talking about principles of mediation. Some people call it pillar. Some people call it foundations of mediation. Why is it called a pillar or principles? Because in a building, the foundation is the very most important thing and the pillar that holds the building strong. Foundation matters in any building. So also in mediation, what are those principles that are watchdog? For me, those principles of mediation are watchdog backbones of mediation. Mediation is structured, volunteered, confidential process where a neutral third party, called the mediator, help disputing parties to reach a mutually acceptable agreement. There are core principles of mediation. One of them is voluntary participation. Mediation is a voluntary process. What does that mean, voluntary? It means all parties that are in dispute agree willingly to participate, to choose mediation as a conflict resolution process to resolve their dispute. For example, when I did my internship with a Citizen Mediation Center in Lagos State, Nigeria, how it functions, a party comes to lay a complaint. We call the party complainant, the person that comes to lay a complainant. And we issue a letter to invite the other party. And sometimes, because it's an institute, it's an organization, sometimes the party that comes to lay a complaint might tell us, I can't be able to serve this person later. Some of them, when you serve them mediation later, they will think you are inviting them to court. No. Sometimes we help the party that have come to lay a complaint to invite the other party. Sometimes we call on the phone. This person is inviting you to some place. He's talking in respect of particular dispute, but we cannot discuss it on phone. We want you to be present. And sometimes the way you speak to parties invite them for mediation. They come. They are not invited because they want to get arrested by the police or they're going to the court. No. So it's a voluntary process. They willingly choose to come to mediation. Meaning when they come to mediation and they engage in mediation process, they can as well withdraw. I don't want to use mediation process again. Nobody forces anyone. That's the beauty of mediation. Parties willingly participate. Unlike some in litigation where they serve you a letter for court, sometimes they can do it on your if you don't reply, they can do the court matter on your absence and even take judgment. But mediation is not like that. Parties willingly accept to be in mediation, to choose mediation as a dispute resolution process. So it's a very, very core principle. Another principle is the neutrality and impartiality. This particular principle concerns the mediator. This one is a watchdog. In fact, when a mediator is mediating a case, the principle of mediation are the watchdog. They are the backbone. They are what should be ringing in your head as a mediator. Neutrality, it has to be a neutral process, meaning the mediator remains neutral in the process. We know we are all human beings. Sometimes you want to feel like you want to side this party. A mediator is not a lawyer. That's why in mediation, when you're trying to when you're in mediation and you are doing your opening speech as a mediator, you explain the principles. Principles of mediation have to come along in your speech. You introduce your role as a mediator to the parties. They have to know, why am I here? What is my role as a mediator? You are impartial, you are neutral in the process. Meaning the only thing a mediator is doing in that process is what? To facilitate communication, guide the parties. This is why we're here. You don't take side. You're ensuring a fair process for all the parties. While you're mediating, you blink your eye for one party, you also have to do the same to the next party. That's why in mediation, the mediator has to be conscious. You have to take in consideration your own emotions, your own emotions. We know we can't be able to read our body language. Somebody else has to read our body language while we do things. But that's why the self-consciousness, self-awareness, a mediator has to build that. Because you are mediating a case, you are not siding anybody. Unlike in litigation, where you're representing your client. But here, you're not siding anybody. You're there to help them, to facilitate agreement. The party, the power belongs to them. Just like in the voting system where you vote the politicians, power belongs to the people. You vote them to put as a mediator, the mediation process belongs to the mediator, while the resolution belongs to the party. So the mediator can never side you. He's not siding anyone. We can say we are human beings. That's why you have to be skilled as a mediator. These principles, you have to master them. You have to be conscious of yourself. Oh, why this party was talking, I smile at this party. I had to also do the same to this party. So that's why mediation, you have to listen in mediation. So you must be neutral. It's one of the core principles of mediation. Another core principles of mediation is confidentiality. Mediation is a confidential process, meaning the discussions, if you have two parties in mediation plus the mediator, these are the three parties that just knew what happened in mediation. Whatever that is being discussed in the mediation table, only the party and the mediation are aware of it, and the mediator rather. Unlike in litigation, the court process, because I have always been this person, I've always been passionate about anything dispute resolution. I have passion for that. So when I went for a student counselor, I was like, I want to do law. It was like, Gloria, why don't you go for mediation first? Even if you want to do law later, why don't you try mediation? So I quickly did conflict and peace and conflict resolutions, and I fell in love with it. I love it, and I love mediation as one of dispute resolution mechanisms. There are other ones, negotiation, arbitration, cancellation, but I love mediation because you're empowering the party. You're not siding them. You're letting them speak, and you facilitate the process. Unlike in the court system, you walk into the court and you just be a spectator, sit in the background and listen to cases, thousands of cases. But in mediation, if you're not invited to the mediation, you're not representing anyone, you can't be in that place. So it's confidential. And that's why sometimes in the workplace dispute, especially harassment dispute, people want to use mediation to do that because it's confidential. You're not revealing whatever that's been done. And another aside party cannot be able to know what happened in the mediation process. The mediation information cannot be shared outside the mediation unless it's been agreed upon. Unless parties said, okay, you can tell it to other parties. So the party are the ones that empowers the process. In the agreement, they can choose to say, okay, we want to relate it outside. So it's very confidential process. So the principle, they are really core principles. Other ones can also come up, other principles, but these are the core ones. Impartiality, confidentiality, voluntarity. Like other principles like decision making. Parties should have access to all relevant information and understand the consequences of any agreement reached. So they have to be informed because they are the one making decision. And if they come to agreement where the mediator writes the agreement, even after writing agreement, the mediator also have to read the agreement before the parties, and they agree. Oh, this is what we've said. We want it this way, and they sign. Right now in the new Mediation Act, the AMA, Arbitration and Mediator Act 2023 Nigeria, It has been said that it's enforceable right now. Whatever they've been agreed can be enforced because they've signed and they've agreed. You know, self-determination in mediation, the party retain the control over the outcome. They make their own decisions rather than having a ruling imposed on them. That's why the mediator is not a judge. The mediator is not a lawyer. The mediator is a neutral third party. You might think, so what is the role of the mediator then? Until you try it, you know the role of the mediator. It's not really easy to facilitate two people who are in dispute, facilitating them to communicate. You can see sometimes when you go for litigation, a party is so tense. He said, I don't want to see this party. I don't want to listen to him. My lawyer, go and speak on my behalf. Go, I am not coming. So you see what a mediator navigates in conflict. Making sure two persons in conflict communicate. How do you do that? Especially when you're dealing with family dispute, that emotions are high. People are angry. They come with anger to the mediation table. But by the time a skilled mediator speak with them, calm them down, because it's not also about resolving dispute. They go home fulfilled, refreshed, with a new way of starting a new living, a new way of relating to people. So mediation, it does a lot. It does a lot than just resolving dispute only. It builds relationship, respect, cooperation, because mediation encourages open communication, respect, cooperative approach. You're trying to brainstorm, how do we resolve this dispute? Since dispute is inevitable, when it occurs, how do we go about it? That's why in mediation we use what we call the private sessions. That sometimes the party don't want to say something in presence of the other party. So you use a private session, because even while you're starting your mediation, you already explain to parties that we have what we call the private session, the caucus. Whatever you think you can say in front of the other person, you can tell me in private session. So if you want me to relate it back to the other party, let me know as a mediator. Tell me to relate it to the other party. Then you call the other party in private session. This is what this person said. This is what he or she have agreed. But he doesn't have the courage to speak to you. That's why he say, I should relate to you in private session. And the parties have to be aware. That's why the opening speech in mediation is very important. There you're trying to tell them, educate them what mediation is all about, what the agreement, what everything that concerns them is all about. So when you open up to them as a mediator, they also open up to you. They are trusting you with their issue. So the principles of mediation, they are watchdogs. They are the backbone, they are the pillars. A mediator have to guide. That guides the mediation process. That guides the mediator. You have to have it at the back of your mind why you mediate. It has to be part of you, why you handle mediation process.